Yeah, thanks for having me. So yeah, I wanted to talk about building add-on businesses with Adobe. You've heard today already a lot of really great success stories, but I thought I would start with trying to feature examples that are a little bit earlier. A lot of people who are just getting started to wrap their heads around making money on the internet is kind of a crazy thing. So yeah, I just wanted to share some tips how to get started and pull a little bit from my experience helping over 100,000 creators make over $1 billion in the last 13 years on this platform called Gumroad. Gumroad helps creators sell all sorts of things, but in the context of Adobe Express, a lot of plugins, tutorials, asset packs, and most specifically, I'll be talking about plugins. This is a bit of a double entendre. An add-on business is not just an add-on business in the sense that it's shipping an add-on, but also that it's an add-on to something else you're likely doing. The vast majority of creators on Gumroad have a full-time job. They're doing something else. And this is sort of a side hustle that develops from solving their own problem. And one of the really amazing things about a company like Adobe is they invest a lot of effort, money, advertising dollars into building a huge ecosystem of potential customers for you. And if you can just sort of provide a complementary service, you can sort of ride those coattails quite a bit. So yeah, just to go through how to actually start an add-on business, I think everyone should just examine their workflow and see what they are using the Adobe Suite for, and notice patterns in that sort of usage and say, okay, this thing is taking me 20 minutes and I'm rearranging all of these dots in the right shape because I want to show this visual concept, a graph, a sparkline, something like that. Wouldn't it be cool if I could sort of sketch something and then take a photo of it, drag and drop it into the thing and hit a button, and then all of a sudden it generates a really beautiful graph, maybe conform it to your design language or something like this. And then you build it. You build it, and then you take advantage of Adobe Express's platform. You integrate your add-on, and then you may use a product like Gumroad or another service. FastSpring was mentioned, to price it. And the beauty of this is you're providing value to people, but also that they get to support you and make your business sustainable, so such that you can continue to dedicate time and effort making your product even better and potentially finding more ways to serve your customers. Just to zoom in a little bit on pricing, a lot of people, this is the thing that scares them a lot about starting. You can start low, start with a low initial price, get traction first, get feedback, maybe most important. And then you can always upsell, have tiers, do multi-seat licenses. We have a lot of very successful creators who do membership-based billing, community support. Enterprise is a huge part of this over time. So, you can always kind of improve on that. It's important to just pick a number and get started. Why is an add-on business so compelling? Well, first, hopefully it improves your output as an artist, as a developer, as a creator. You're doing something else. This thing helps you get that job done faster, better, harder, faster, stronger. It's also a great bullet point on your resume. I think a lot of people think that this is just about entrepreneurship, but it's not necessarily. It's about showcasing your skills and potentially getting a better job out of it, a higher salary out of it, more equity in the business you currently work for, things like that. So, sort of maybe think about broadening the scope of what this can kind of accomplish for you. It can be a great source of passive income, something to potentially fall back on or help you move cities or whatnot. It's free to build, and it sells. I think this is what gets people excited. It sells itself, right? You don't have to be knocking doors. So yeah, just go through some opportunities for developers. We're at an Adobe Express conference, so focus on this suite of tools. Think about the workflows that people are already utilizing these products to do. A lot of these examples were already given today around audio. I thought that was actually very fascinating. Did not think about music. So that's my bias showing. But I focus this on a lot of graphics, creation of videos, things like this, helping people pull in assets, generate assets, things like that. Kyle Webster is, I think, one of my favorite examples of a Gumroad creator who actually ended up selling his business to Adobe, which is a thing that I didn't know was possible for an artist. But he started selling these digital brushes originally for Adobe Photoshop, and now they're kind of built into the suite. And I think he saw an oil stain and was like, I wish I could replicate that, and then figured out how to do it digitally. So one of my favorite examples, Perspective Tools V2. This is a more technical example. If you're a developer, you might come at this from a more sort of mathematical perspective. So this is an example of that. Someone who wanted to make it easier to lay out perspective grids in the suite of software, for painters, drawers, artists, things like that. This is kind of how that experience looks. So, if you wanted to embed this, the nice thing about using a service like Gumroad is we handle a lot of the complexity for you. You embed it within your plugin. This thing can kind of pop up. You can have on the right, you can see sort of seats and tiers and all sorts of stuff. If people want a refund, they can email you. They can get more content. You can email them easily. All these sorts of things is possible. And then, yeah, this is another example of, this is more about just like a pack, makes it easy to import effects into Premiere. And then the cool thing is, once you have some customers, you can scale that up potentially. Grammarly is an example of an add-on business that started out as a very, very simple Chrome extension that is now quite huge piece of software. There's tons of plugins, extensions that have grown to be quite massive businesses. WooCommerce was acquired by Automattic. And then Gumroad, even, I think, in a way, was an add-on, right? Because we started the business to help people basically put stuff on Twitter and sell things without having a website, just a really simple landing page. And so I think Gumroad is also a pretty good example of this. And yeah, so hopefully that was helpful. That just gives you some sort of perspective on what you could potentially make. And yeah, maybe I can take a question or two if anyone has them, but thanks for having me.
Thanks for sharing your tips with us, Sahil. I think they're really powerful and give some new insights or different perspective to this. And again, I'm fascinated by the big numbers that you showed at the beginning. As I told you when I first saw the first draft of the presentation. And I can just shout out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk a little bit, maybe more to dive into this number.
Yes, please.
We started 13 years ago when the business was very small, a lot of painters selling just like digital assets. And then really during COVID is when this thing sort of exploded for creators, and people really figured out that there's a whole audience out there of digital, people who are making things right with online software, and the usage of all of these tools is going through the roof. And so that's where a lot of the growth has come from, and this is all over the world. So I think, while a lot of maybe the market spend may be coming from large businesses that are maybe, in California, New York, et cetera, you have the ability to work from anywhere and sell services and software to people who are based in these places. So you can live in Thailand, sell something for $5 and if you sell a few hundred of those, you have a few hundred customers. You can build a really, really great business. So this is a huge number, but it's made up of, people making hundreds of dollars, thousands of, starting quite small, and from all over the world. I think half of the volume is not in the US.
Wow. And there's probably not a unique tip, but in general, is there any kind of business model for these kind of digital assets that you say is more likely to be successful? Or like, is perpetual debt? Should everyone focus on subscription? How important is freemium versus starting right for asking for money at the beginning? Are there some concept that you could say are more unique, or are they very dependent on the individual use case and topic?
I definitely think, subscription is really great if you can find a way to deliver value in a recurring fashion. I think in the presentation before this, or the panel before this, there was someone talking about creating a lot of advertising. And I think that is a big use case that will have like perpetual value. And so I think that's a big market segment that is worth paying attention to, that I think most people may not associate right away with Adobe software, but it's being used more and more to make creative ad content, etc. So a lot of those workflows, I think, are really appealing to figure out, okay, how do you scale this? How do you integrate this into the rest of the company? Connecting data, I think, is another big one. You have a lot of data, in all sorts of different places that you want to kind of feed into your plugin. So I think there's going to be a lot of those sorts of things. Freemium, I think, honestly, it's better to just focus on people who are willing to pay. You can always go freemium, but I think starting with like, I want to charge some money. I want to focus on the people who really need this right now, willing to pay money, and then going more broad, I think, over time.
Okay, so not be anxious in asking for money as well. And here we hear from Eugen, who is a developer across multiple of our apps as well. He said that Gumroad announced that you are growing the team. So what can we expect on new features or possibilities from Gumroad going forward?
Yeah, what are we working on? Quite a lot of stuff. The mobile apps is a big focus for us, just improving the apps, both on the creator side, making it possible to take more actions as a creator on the apps, but then also on the buyer side, we're going to integrate purchasing in the mobile apps. I have no idea if this is going to generate a lot of volume or nothing, but I think basically building discovery into the native apps and trying to take advantage of as much native functionality to help creators get in front of people who are browsing on their phones, I think could be quite impactful. We're adding product service types. So currently people mostly sell digital products, memberships, plugins, etc. We're going to make it possible for people to sell services, do phone calls, commissions as well for artists, if you want to collect 50% upfront. So trying to figure out ways to diversify their income streams, so they have other sort of different options from their audience. So yeah, those are some of the things that we're working on.
Perfect. And last question, like if people have questions to you, if they want to have, or they have feature requests or new ideas, what is the best way to reach out or give feedback? Just share the link to subscribe to the newsletter, but what else would be a good link for them to connect?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn also has my email listed there, so you can email me there. And I'm also on X, the infamous X platform.
The X. Where's my X? Okay.
The email is nice and not owned by anybody. So
perfect.